You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Medium of what are we saving anything for? What there just has to be, because again, this is why you're here. This is what this thing was put together for. There's got to be an aggressive, but you've got to be smart with it too. And so mitigating risk, limiting those chances. But if it's 4th and 2 and you feel like the best play is to, let him on his own read and be the keeper, as a fake or if he's going to scramble around, I mean, I just don't know if you say, hey, dude, just take a loss or don't get that extra 6 yards, just go down. I mean, I don't know how you handle that, but
pull it back on the competing.
You know what I mean? I mean, because again, it all leads to this. And yeah, I'm sure that you're not going to intentionally, put a lot of things in that would put him in harm's way. But at some point, you got to go play ball, man, and you got to win. And this is the part of the problem with what we talked about maybe back in August. Remember when we had the conversation of like short yardage situations and how most really good teams at a very high level have a dual threat quarterback, a running back that can absolutely break tackles and all that, or a tight end piece that is, and we kind of were wondering aloud, do you have any of the three? Is that present? We've seen a few glimpses. I don't think you really have a dual threat quarterback. I'm not even going to say to you that you have this running back that can break tackles. We've seen this. I don't know if I'm ready to label either one of them as I can hand it to him. He's getting me my 3. There's not a Taj Brooks component. As good as Cam and Jacoby have been at times, I don't know if I would label them with that yet. And you certainly don't have this unstoppable force at tight end that's this bigger red zone short yardage scenario like a Conyers that is a blocker or a wildcat guy or whatever. And so you have to get a bit creative, and some of that could come into deception or asking your quarterback that's not necessarily a dual threat to run it a bit. I mean, so I don't know, but it's a fair question, and it's one that I'm sure that they're probably talked about quite a bit yesterday as they were drawing up the game plan for this one, and kind of, okay, how can we be really good but not, and maybe it's more wildcat with Cam Dickey, which we saw with Will Hammond in the game. Maybe it's, I don't know, but I'd be willing to bet, like, if you got anything that you had off to the side of the table or the side of the whiteboard that you were kind of like, okay, I mean, now's the time. Now's the time to don't be saving anything.
Well, and I guess possibly with Terrence Carter back in the mix, that's another component in that type of game, or that type of aspect of the offense that wasn't available last time around, that hopefully you could utilize as well. I'll just go ahead and say I think that Behren Morton is going to carry the ball one time at least, and I'm going to go ahead and say right now for all of us, whenever that happens the first time, what are we doing? Because I know we're all going to be thinking. So I just want to go ahead and get that first one out of the way for everybody. In case you were taking a sip or something, you couldn't say it in the moment Saturday. I've already said it for you. Chris, before we get out of here, speaking of Saturday, 2:30 kick time in Manhattan, Kansas. And the Red Raiders, if you hadn't seen, opening up the week, saw on FanDuel at 6.5 is a road favorite. No big deal. Just getting comfortable in these road favorite shoes. No problem with that. But Chris, a little bit of a friendly bounce as far as a kick time, I suppose. As we've said before, it's like if you're relying on the kick time for anything, then good luck with anything or everything. But wasn't mad at it. But, man, it's not the biggest stadium in the country, but it's typically a really great environment. I think in large part produced by the team that's typically on the field. So It's always a difficult road setting. First, today's episode brought to you by Gametime. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly feel the call of the stadium. That's exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. And with the money you save on tickets, you can then splurge on foods, drinks, gear, and more. Gametime makes it all possible. And best of all, Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get the first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. And if you're like me, you get tired of endless scrolling trying to find the best deal, and that's why Gametime's Zone Deals is the go-to move, since it automatically picks the best seats in your section for you at the best price. And as always, you can get a view from your seat right there in the app, so before you buy, you know exactly what you're going to see. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use our code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use our code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, Locked On College, for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets at the lowest price, guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the tougher places to play in the Big 12. Everybody's so nice to you. It's similar to BYU in that, and then they start, hey, welcome to K-State, welcome to Manhattan, and all the deal, and then they just typically are a team that is very sound. They don't beat themselves. We've seen the movie a million times, and usually the ending sucks. If you're sitting on our side of the deal. But this isn't – I don't know if this is the best Kansas State team you will have seen. I think this is a game that, the afternoon kick, it's much better than the night, I think is kind of what you're saying. It's the lesser of – I mean, it's not as good as 11 a.m., but it's better than 6 or 6:30 or 7 or whatever. And so you'll take what you can get. It'll still be full. It'll still be sold out. They will be fresh off of a very meaningful victory over their in-state rival, which I say that. It just so happens to be those two institutions are located in the state of Kansas because they've won the thing, 16, 17 times in a row? Not really a rival. Not really – I mean, Kansas State's got all the sunflowers. I guess in the overall series, Kansas leads it, but in the last couple of decades, it's just really not a thing.
Oh, is that right? Kansas leads that overall series?
I think so, which
swallow for a K-State fan.
Yeah, which probably stems from way back in the 1800s, early 1900s when all that was going on. I don't know.
Bonus trivia for you today.
Yeah, that's right.
I wouldn't have guessed it.
But this will be. So we talked a lot about Behren. We'll find out how mobile he is. I would guess early on in this game. My guess is this needs to be a big yards after the catch game. This is where your playmakers need to do their thing. It can't be like the Arizona State component where it's just like that's the best tackling performance I've ever seen. Your guys are just going to have to make some plays, right? But I say all that to lead up to if you've asked too much of your defense to this point, and I feel like we've asked them to do a lot and to be this, but now is when you really, really need it. Now is when, hey man, can you go score for me? Can you really can you not just punch it out, but can you fall on them with the turnovers? Can you go score like you did? I mean, how about Jacob Rodriguez? Give me that. I mean, just give it to me. Let me get on my horse, man. My cowboy hat's in the locker room. Otherwise, I'd wear it. But I'm taking your lunch money, and away I go with it. But
I don't know if he's kicking the horse hard enough. By the way, he's getting a little tight there near the goal line.
Well, I just was hope he wasn't going to come up like with some sort of limp because he's managing his wheels right now, and he's just is playing at such a high level. I mean, like it was like 4 or 5 minutes into the game, he already had like 5 tackles. He's just everywhere and
every play. And I'm thinking the same thing, man. When he's giving it all she's got, and I'm like, oh, don't pull anything. And I'm thinking the same thing too on the bogus Oklahoma State interception. I don't know if you remember this play, but they were going to go ahead and try to run it all the way back. It was not going to be an interception, and I'm just yelling, nobody chase him, nobody go after. Let this moron run 80 yards. We'll chase him down to the 1, make a tackle, and get a turf toe or something. Nobody.
Yeah.
We are so conditioned, Chris, to be a
Yes.
little nervous in these parts. But
I know it's
Not-
I hate being like I hate being fragile emotionally, but this is where we're at.
it's a fine line, man.
Because to quote somebody, have some mother bleeping confidence. But anyway, I struggle. It's like the each guy on the shoulder, one going, "Don't you remember all the bad things?" And then the other guy's like wanting to stick his chest out and be like, act like the pro wrestler with a microphone in the middle of a ring, telling everybody that where you're at, and like being that guy. So
hey, let me with this chest sticking out kind of question to you then, because this blew me away when I got this.